Greetings and welcome to Words About Games breakdown of EGX 2019 with Amy and Keith. One of us was at EGX 2018. This is the general introduction to all of the EGX videos that we're going to be putting out over the course of the next week. So if you watch all the videos, you'll see this like 10 times. Just I didn't want to get off track in the beginning, but hey, it's us. I was at EGX. Keith wasn't. I played a ton of games. Keith doesn't know anything about any of them because we haven't seen each other since I got back from London. So we're going to talk about them. All of them. It's separated into categories that make sense if you're at the show and probably make sense. I hope they make sense. If you weren't at the show, either way, thumbs up. I have 7 games of the show and I made this. So I'm going to be giving these out as we do the podcast. So keep an eye out for my 7 best games of EGX with the little hearts and stuff. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to future Keith and future Amy, who are going to be having lots of conversations about video games.
Over to you, future me.
You know I was going to start with Final Fantasy VII, right? Like, as soon as it was announced to be at EGX. It was the first game I played. It was really funny to actually go and queue up for it on the first, part of the very first day. So when you walked up to the PlayStation stand, I will get to talk about the game, but I need to talk. I'm going to be talking about queues and stuff because I've got some funny stories. So when you come up to the PlayStation stand, and Final Fantasy VII is really easy to access because it's obviously they knew it was going to be the most popular game on their stand, but they completely underestimated how many people were going to just immediately go straight to Final Fantasy VII. So on the first day, they had the station set up, and then they had the snaking queue system. Mm-hmm. And the show opens at 10, and by the time I got to that stand, I was in probably the back end of the first third of the people who went in. At the beginning, and I got there at 10:05, so 5 minutes after the whole show had opened. Mm-hmm. The queue snaking thing was already full, and we were making a queue on the edge of. I was just right at the back of that part, and we started making a queue at the edge of the PlayStation stand. By 10:10, the queue went all the way around the PlayStation. All the way to the back, and this was PlayStation's biggest stand at EGX, ever.
Yeah.
As they advertised themselves, went all the way back and around. So by 10:10, there were so many people queuing up for Final Fantasy VII, and because they hadn't built a queue system big enough for it, nobody else could get into the PlayStation stand without pushing past this big, massive queue. So they slowly started building. The Dreams, for some reason, which was next to the thing, had a queuing system set up, but obviously nobody was going to go play Dreams, and Final Fantasy was right there. So they slowly, one bit at a time, they've got the things with the things that come out. It's they slowly started stealing that from Dreams and started building it around the people who were there. So they were moving everybody around, get people, and it was it was something else to witness. It was really funny to see. And as I found out on the last day, you could actually book appointments to go and see it on the PlayStation Experience app. Why they didn't advertise this app before EGX, I'll never know. But at about 11, I finally got in and I sat down. They had gaming PC chairs like this. On all their stations, which was nice. It was nice to play the demo in comfort. Sat down to play it, put the headphones on. It's you got 15 minutes to play this demo, and it's got the start screen and the music's playing, and it's the fucking Final Fantasy VII theme tune, completely redone or remastered or whatever they've done with the soundtrack, and it's just damn, all the feels hit me, because I'm sitting down, I've got the PS4 controller in my hand, and I got to admit, it took me about 30 seconds just to start the demo, because I was just listening to the music. I'd been transported back in time. And I was talking to Paul, a streamer I knew who I saw the next day, and it was we were talking about what the demo actually looks like, and he said like the remake just looks like how I thought it looked how I thought it looked in 1997, and I was like, yeah, that's fair. It looks and sounds how you remember it looking and sounding, unless you actually play it again at the original. But it was the demo that we played was the Guard Scorpion boss fight that they showcased at E3. It's like the first boss fight in the game, and it was a little bit before that, so you got to run around and get used to the controls. You did a couple of fights. They're not when you encounter enemies in Final Fantasy VII Remake, the screen doesn't go whoosh, and you don't fall down the whirlpool. Now the fights happen. So like, oh, there's some enemies over there, and then you just start attacking them. I had two characters in my party, Cloud and Barret, obviously. And like everything about the game, like to play it, because it was basically a combat demo. There was no cutscenes or interactions or anything like that. There was a trailer at the end of it, but it was all combat. And to play it, the combat was like however it looked at E3, like because it looked good at E3, but actually like sitting down and getting to grips with it and playing it with the controller in my own hands, it's so much smoother than it looks, and it already looks really smooth. Like it plays so smooth. Well. It's so intuitive. Just like once you like learn the controls, and like I had a chart in front of me for like these are what all the buttons do. Like switching between the two different characters, like you hold down the trick's not trigger. You hold down the shoulder button to like go into tactical mode, which is when you slow down and you start selecting your different abilities to use, and like it all just works exactly how you would want it to work in the flow of combat. So do you have any questions about it before I keep talking about it? Because I know your game of the show on E3 as well as mine.
Yeah, I mean, so you're running around, so like I'm assuming Barret doesn't zoom into your body when you're not on like the combat map.
No, Barret is with you the entire time. When you're on the world map and you're running around, because you can, like you say, in fights, you push a button on the D-pad and you just instantly the camera just instantly goes to the other person.
Was there any random conversations?
There were a lot. So not so much in the preamble bit. So there was a very short cutscene, which was basically just it was Barret and Cloud and Jesse, and Jesse was just like, "Hey, put the bomb down there," and then they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then there was another one which we all saw at E3, where they're actually putting the bomb and the scorpion comes up. But during the boss fight, there were a lot of there's a lot of banter between Cloud and Barret. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to enjoy a lot of it because the demo I was playing was in Japanese. Wow. So I could hear it, and I knew it was happening, and it was subtitled, but at the same time, I was fighting a giant scorpion that was shooting lasers and rockets at me, so I was a little bit preoccupied.
I've just got this sudden vision of you're wailing at this robot scorpion with this giant sword, like you feel all epic, and the Barret just goes, "Come on, Cloud! My grandma can hit harder than that."
That was the tone between the two of them, because Barret was just giving Cloud a lot of shit before he was putting the bomb down, like he does in the original game, where he was just like, "You do it, yeah, prove that you're not a stooge for Shinra or whatever," and Cloud's just like, "I'm just here for the money, man. I don't give a shit about your climate change, extinction rebellion, eco-terrorism," and those were the exact words they said. I'm just kidding. There was a lot of that, but I didn't get to really see the banter because the explosions and fire and the roof was collapsing, and it was very much a more involved demo fight than in the old days when you just stood in a line and you were like,
yeah.
Now the music though was that music when the god thing comes up. It was incredible to hear that tune in the background while I was playing it, fully reorchestrated. That was really cool. The boss fight was in stages, but They would
This
like,
isn't even my final form.
yeah, it wasn't like, yeah, it wasn't like a Dragon Ball moment where it was like suddenly the God Scorpion just grew a bunch of extra guns or whatever. It was, but there was definite like stages to the fight. Like you never had a health bar, like you couldn't see the health of the boss. So when you started fighting, you were just attacking it. And I remembered because I streamed this game, the original game, at the beginning of the year. So I was like, it's a robot boss. This robot boss is weak against thunder magic. And then, oh, Barrett has thunder magic. So, like, obviously I was using his thunder magic quite a bit. So you do that first bit, and then the second, and then it jumps onto the wall like you see in the E3 video, and it fires at you, and you shoot at it with Barrett. And then there's a second phase where it's got a shield up, and you have to go around the back of it and hit the shield generator before you can attack it again. And then there's a third phase where you have to keep using debris to hide from the tail laser as it's shooting at you, because apparently it'll just devastate you. So it's like it was a 15-minute demo. I was finished before the 15 minutes were up, because I try to rush these things because I don't know. I know I'm on a time limit, so I'm just like, I need to experience stuff.
Yeah.
And the so like the boss fight was probably, like, people have been talking about how it's, oh, the God Scorpion looks like such a huge massive boss fight. It wasn't. It was probably about 6-7 minutes of the demo. I think it took me to just beat it. Like, I'm sure later bosses will be longer, like especially sort of like the end game bosses. I mean, weapon springs immediately to mind.
Hello, weapon.
But no, it's like the combat's like an evolution of what we got in Final Fantasy 15. Like the active time battle stuff, like the ATB gauge, it fills up when you attack. So you just keep hitting the monster and it'll just fill up, and that's, you use that to do abilities. Most of the limit breaks that were in the original game are just special attacks now, but you do still have limit breaks, which I think work about the same as they did in the original, because I remember I got to use cross slash to finish the boss off in the fight with Cloud. So they are still there, and like magic still costs MP, which you still got to build up with like ethers. I had some ethers in my inventory. Like the game was like, the demo was very aware it was a demo, so it was like I was overloaded with items. Like if I have this many items going into the first boss fight in the game when it comes out next year, I'll be shocked. I had like 20 potions and 10 ethers, and like, it was just like, this is a demo. We need to give you all the things to make sure that you don't die.
Yeah.
So good though. Like, but I'd surpassed my expectations in terms of like how hyped I was, and you were with me at E3, so you know how hyped I was when we watched that.
Indeed.
Big reveal. Is there anything else you want to know about Final Fantasy VII?
No, we've seen a bit. There's a lot of stuff like still unshown, like how like this is going to be like separated out and stuff, which obviously isn't going to be like announced at EGX.
No, that would be weird.
Yeah, I'm good just knowing that like you've had a good experience of it. I mean, it may be the second game that I actually play on my PlayStation.
Damn, son. Yeah, that's about right. But anyway, like with all that being said, that is why Final Fantasy VII gets the first Words About Games Best Game of EGX. Surprising absolutely no one.
No one.
No one will be surprised by that.